If you've ever tried to improve your child's sleep and then stopped because nothing seemed to be changing, there's a real chance things were actually moving in the right direction, but the signs were small and you were looking for the wrong ones. I'm Diane Luzny, and I work with moms of kids on the autism spectrum who are dealing with sleep issues. One of the hardest things about this is you're putting in the effort. You're trying to be consistent, and it doesn't look like it's working. So you stop, or you switch to something else, and the cycle starts again. What I want to show you in this video is how progress actually shows up in this process, because it almost never looks like what you're expecting. Point 1. Progress doesn't start at sleep. When people try to measure whether sleep is improving, they usually look at a few things, such as how fast their child falls asleep, how long the bedtime routine takes, how well they sleep in the night. And those are reasonable things to track. But here's the problem. They're actually the last things to change. Think about learning to ride a bike. Before you can ride without wobbling, a lot of smaller things have to happen first. You have to figure out where the pedals are. You have to get a feel for the balance. You need to be able to ride 5 feet without falling. If you only measured success by, can they ride across the park without stopping, you'd think nothing was happening for a long time. But actually, a lot was happening. You just weren't measuring the right things. Sleep is the same. Before your child falls asleep faster or stays asleep, other things shift first. And if you miss those, you think you're failing when actually you are making real progress. Point 2. What progress actually looks like. The early signs of progress are subtle, easy to miss entirely if you're not looking for them. They don't look like, wow, that was easy. They look like, that didn't escalate as fast as it usually does. They came back from that a little faster than normal. That part of the routine felt slightly less intense tonight. We had a rough patch, but it didn't take over the whole evening. Those small shifts are easy to write off as a fluke, a good day, coincidence, or to not notice at all. But they're not random. They're your child's nervous system starting to have a little more capacity, a little more room to settle. That's the foundation everything else gets built on. Without those small shifts happening first, the bigger changes, the faster to sleep, easier bedtime, can't follow. Here's another way to think about it. When a garden is first being planted, there's a long stretch where nothing seems to be happening. The soil looks the same, no shoots, no flowers. And if you judged progress by what's visible above the ground, you'd think nothing was working. But underground, roots are developing, structure is forming. Everything that will eventually show up above the surface is getting built below first. The small shifts you're seeing at bedtime, the slightly less intense reactions, the slightly faster recovery, that's the root system forming, the building blocks, the foundation. Point 3. Why people stop too early. If you're only looking for faster sleep and smoother bedtimes, you will completely miss all of that early progress. And when you don't see what you're looking for, it feels like nothing is working. So you stop, or you switch strategies, and you put yourself back at the beginning of the loop that we talked about in a previous video. I've seen this happen before. I've done it before. Let's say a mom is actually 2 weeks into real and meaningful progress. Her child is recovering a bit faster, The evenings are slightly calmer. The meltdowns aren't quite as long. And she stops because bedtime itself is still taking at least an hour. She was measuring the last thing to change while missing everything else that was already shifting. What you can do. Tonight, change what you're measuring. Instead of asking, how long did bedtime take? Ask yourself one question. Was there even one small moment tonight that felt slightly easier than usual? Look for, did something escalate less than it normally would? Did your child recover a little bit faster from a hard moment? Did one part of the routine feel smoother, even just one part? Did the evening not fall apart as completely as it sometimes does? Why this matters. Those moments are data. They're telling you the system is starting to shift. They don't mean everything is fixed, but they mean it's moving. And if you can see that movement, you can stay consistent with what's helping, which is how the bigger changes eventually come. The reframe. Instead of, this isn't working, shift to, I'm looking for the roots, the foundation, not just the flowers. Progress is happening before it's visible. Your job right now is to keep going long enough for it to surface and build upon itself. I've linked a guide below that helps you know what to do and why when your child struggles in the evening. So you're not just surviving those moments, you're actually using them as information and improvement. When you can actually see progress, even the small early version of it, it's so much easier to stay consistent. And consistency is what makes this whole. In the next video, I want to share with you what makes this sustainable long term, so you're not constantly guessing, starting over, and carrying all of this alone. Talk soon.